Hey guys, welcome to the arcade. Thank you very much for joining me today. Now, what I want to talk about today is slightly different to the normal retro stuff that we would cover on the channel. Recently, I've been going on to Steam and hunting down modern sort of games that would work on an arcade cabinet, or at least work with arcade controls, and there's a reason for that. I've mentioned before that I was sort of looking into the standalone, what would you call it, like the operating system that Polycade had put out. So let me show you what I mean. If I jump over here, sorry, 1 second, we can do this. Boom. So this is kind of Polycade's little operating system. It comes as part of any of the Polycade machines that you would buy, but you can also grab it as a little standalone program that you could run on any sort of PC. Now, the good thing with Polycade is it has its own store, very like iArcade would have done. So this was kind of my idea, because iArcade was not going to be coming over to the UK. I was looking into Polycade to see if I could sort of replicate the same kind of experience that the iArcade guys were having on their machine, but in a different format. Now that iArcade is kind of gone, yeah, this may be a kind of replacement for it. But you have a little bit more control, and I'll show you what I mean. So if I sort of jump over here into their store, these are the games that they currently have on offer. And if we just... Sorry, my connection must be a little bit slow today, because it's just taking a little bit to run up. So you can see the different ones that they have. So you'll notice some kind of familiar ones there. We've got Asteroids, but we've also got a lot of indie games. Oh, there's Bubble Bobble, fantastic. Broforce, that's a nice little game that works well on an arcade. We've got stuff for trackballs there. There's Crystal Castles. So as you can see, their store is pretty decent. And there we've got the sort of modern retro games. We've got Donut Dodo. We've got Flea over here. The stuff that I'm seeing is decently priced, and I'm quite pleased with the selection that they have on their store at the moment, and they seem to be adding more to it quite often. Now, another good part of Polycade is that it hooks into your Steam library. So if I actually go over into my library, these are actually games that are on my Steam. Now, what I can do is I can filter them. So if I go for arcade, I'm not entirely sure how many that will appear. Nuts. That was annoying. I will have to figure that one out then. But if we go to action then. So here's a couple of the games that you could have a little look at. So No Man's Sky, that's definitely not going to work as a with arcade controls. But what I was having a look at was, if I try and bring it back up, can I? Okay, so we'll get rid of you. What have I done? I've done something. I've added a genre or a platform. I'm not sure which. Oh no. There's no filters. 19 filters applied. Where? Where did I apply 19 filters? There's a filter applied somewhere. I've done something. There's a filter applied somewhere and I can't find it. Okay, so we've got everything back. That was a bit of a pain in the hoop. So I did have a little look at a few demo games. Now what we can do is I can create a collection, which is really nice. So if I can work out where everything is, I can add stuff to it and get them to appear. Now, Orcs Must Die, that might work as an arcade game. We've got Toe Jam and Earl Back in the Groove. That would definitely work. There's Toxic Crusaders, which is one of the demos that I grabbed. So we definitely do have some fantastic games that we could use as part of Polycade. So again, this was just a bit of an experiment, bit of a due diligence to see if this is going to work. I liked the store. I wanted to see what the Steam side of things would be. So like I said, I went out and grabbed a few demos, and this is what I'm going to show you now. These are going to be a series of videos going forward with a few demos from that I found on Steam that I think would work as modern arcade games on Polycade. Now I do intend to get this all installed on its own standalone. I'm using a controller at the moment, but I'm gonna hook it in with the Act Games deck. So that is my plan with it anyway. In order to do this, in order to run the modern games, it does need something a bit more powerful. So I'm looking at sort of mini PCs, but we're gonna have to have a fairly decent graphics card, at least one in the last sort of 3 years, I would reckon. But yes, let's jump into a couple of demos, show you what I'm talking about, and you can make your decision whether you think this is going to be a viable solution or not. Okay, let's cut into it. Cheers, guys. So this is Avoid Hope, and it's a demo of the full game that I picked up off Steam. Like I've said, I wanted to get a few little arcade type games that I thought would work on an arcade style controller. Now I am using the Xbox controller, but basically it's just using the one control stick and a few buttons. So it's a bit of a side-scrolling platformer puzzler, and then there's a bit of combat thrown in. Now the story is a bit strange. People seem to be glitching out of reality and they turn into shadows of their former selves, and it's a bit of a strange disconnect from reality, and you're trying to figure out what's real and what's maybe a nightmare in your head. It's a very cool little game. I do like the platform elements. Early on it sort of teaches you the various mechanics and how to solve the puzzles. So you can see here you can't exactly get through with just the one box. You've got to be able to push it up, get onto the ladder, go up and get the next one. And as you progress, you go through, this was a mine, and now we're into a bit of an industrial part. You're chasing through, I'm assuming, your wife that's going into the city, so you're trying to follow behind her. And as the scenery sort of changes, we get more and more challenges. So there's a flare gun that you can pick up that can short circuit the fuse boxes to be able to open these doors. You get that later on. You can backtrack through the various stages or levels, and the good thing is that once you've cleared a blocker that would force you to go the long way round, you can then bypass all of this like internal space, and you can just go straight past. So it's really cool to be able to backtrack and find like little hidden bits and pieces. Once we get into the city, into the second stage, we then get into a bit of combat, which is it's kind of like Alan Wake in a way, where these shadows are appearing and you have to combat them with light. So you're using your flare gun in order to hurt them. I think if we were to put this onto the Polycade, which is where I'm looking to go with some of these games, I think this would be a really cool one to sit on an upright arcade machine and play through. I think it would work really well. It's a simple enough little game. The controls are good. The storyline I kind of like. From what I've got from the demo, I think it's very fun to play. I'm interested to see where the story goes. And I do like this little bit of combat. It's really just down to timing rather than mashing buttons, which is a nice little touch. although you don't seem to be able to kill them. Maybe you could do later on, I'm not entirely sure. You maybe get more weapons, but the demo doesn't go as far as that. So this was a really cool game, and I do think it would work well as part of Polycade. And if I do get that machine up and running, I think this will be one that I will add to its library and have a lot of fun playing. What do you guys think? Did you enjoy Avoid Hope? Have you looked into it in the past? Let me know in the comments section below, and I will see you again very soon.